We have a highly anticipated presenter today, Indi Rossi. She is a YouTube personality and actress. In January of this year, she started her YouTube channel with the intention of growing an audience to help her acting career. With the help of her fiance, Andre, who's on the screen with us, they managed to grow the channel from 0 subscribers to over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube in just 4 months. And as of this morning, I checked before we get on, she has 171,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is not an easy task. Indi also knows the ins and outs of Instagram, where she has a following of over 44,000. Andre is a master strategist who loves to decipher puzzles like YouTube's algorithm. It's safe to say that Andre knows just about everything regarding how to start a successful YouTube channel. Without further ado, Indi and Andre, the floor is yours, guys.
Thanks, John. Hi, everyone. Good to see you all again. Okay, this is a lot of fun. All right, well, to start, I guess I'll talk a little bit about the background of my channel, aside from the fact that it grew really fast. What happened was we decided to start a YouTube channel, like Sean said, to further my acting career. And our goal was to build an audience behind me, give me more of a name so that I could prove to casting directors and producers that I was actually someone who could appeal to an audience, because, you know, the entertainment industry is an industry and you can't just take, you know, guesses on people for your projects. You actually have to have some kind of idea that they're gonna provide what you want, which is, of course, your movie or your whatever to get viewed. So I wanted to show them that I had something to offer. And, you know, once quarantine hit, we had a lot of time to figure out how YouTube worked and put all of our time into it, which isn't something that a lot of people get to do when they are on YouTube. So I consider us fortunate in that way. But we did manage to grow our channel really, really fast. And I did get to a point actually where I can communicate with producers and casting directors, and I have been offered projects without even having to audition. So that's how it's helped my acting career. And it's been great for us, for me so far. And we want to kind of shift gears a little bit. We have so much knowledge. We want to help small business owners, people who don't necessarily want to or can't afford a social media manager, learn how they can best use Instagram and YouTube and why it's a good choice for your business. So I want to talk about thinking like YouTube, the technical stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I have not met most of you. A few of you I've spoken to, but a lot of you I have not. My name is Andre, and I guess I'm the strategist of YouTube. So the first thing I would like to ask is, I know a few of you guys have had YouTube channels, but I would like to know how many of you guys have made a YouTube channel before today? So 1, 2, 3, 4.
It was 6, I think.
7. Okay, a few of you. Okay, a few of you. And by a show of hands, you can give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Okay. How has the progress been good, or has the progress been kind of bad? Or kind of bad?
So-so,
okay, we got a so-so. Okay, we got a. Okay, all right. So I actually would like to cover that today. I'd like to give you guys a little bit that you can go home with, that maybe you can kind of consider or even put into action as to why that may be the case. Please.
1 second.
All right. So as she already alluded to, we need to explain as to why that may be happening. And the biggest reason that people don't succeed on the YouTube platform is because they're not thinking like YouTube. Okay. A lot of people will make content. They'll put it out so they'll just keep it, and they'll make a lot of content and just put out content. But their videos won't get any traction, or they get like a little bit of a spark and then it just fades away or whatever.
Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Very. Make tons and tons and tons of videos, but they never get anywhere. Okay. And this is because you're not thinking like YouTube. All right. So what does YouTube want? All right, what would you need to do to think like YouTube? So let's first talk about my #1 rule of YouTube, okay? So YouTube wants people to be on the platform as long as possible, as much as possible. That's it, okay? As long as possible and as much as possible, all right? So whenever you make content on YouTube, you have to keep these in mind. Even if you're a smaller YouTube channel, okay, and I'm gonna cover something on that later. Even if you're a smaller YouTube channel, you have to keep this goal in mind, all right? So the more time that your channel can keep people engaged on YouTube, the better, all right? The more that YouTube will promote your content, the more that you'll get more eyes on you, et cetera, et cetera. Now, again, you do not need to be a big channel for this, okay? You can start this as a very small channel. I mean, evidence.
Started with
Start with zero, and then end up with that. So YouTube is not a technical platform, okay? It's a thought platform where you have a plan of everything that you're gonna do. You have to know how to plan it out, of course, but a plan of everything that you're gonna do, and then you just execute everything in the plan, okay? So the more engagement that you can create, the more that you're keeping people on the platform. The more you're keeping people on the platform, the more YouTube likes what you do. And because the more people they stay on the platform, the more money YouTube makes. The more money YouTube makes, YouTube goes, hey, by the way, we like that. We'll give you some audience to keep people watching your stuff because you're making us money, right? Just like any business, the goal of any business is to make money, right? So that's the same thing YouTube wants. So go ahead.
How do you get people to engage with your content? I think that's something that a lot of channels that start out struggle with. And I like to say you have to earn the right to make the kind of content you want to make on YouTube. You have to start out making content that people are actually looking for. And there are ways to find that out yourself. The search bar is a way, keyword research is another way. And we go in depth into how to do these things in our coaching. And we can touch on it here.
Yeah, so, all right. I talk about this in strategy sessions that I do with people, but the search bar is where you're going to find pretty much everything that you need. Now, there is certain things that you have to understand before you just go type some stuff in, but the search bar is where you're going to find your stuff, the things that people that are in your niche would want to look at, okay? Because they're already looking for it, okay? People already type in YouTube, how to make a banana split. Okay, they're already typing that in, right? So all you have to do is make content that is along the lines of how to make a banana split, and people will find that, okay? So it's a little deeper than that, but I wanted to keep it simple, all right? So it's really important to understand that your audience, that any audience, and this goes for any business, your audience is already on YouTube. They're already there. You don't have to like, hey, mom, can you subscribe to my YouTube channel so that, I have 1 subscriber? You don't have to do that because your audience is already there, okay? They're already there. So all you have to do is put yourself in front of them. A lot of the time what YouTube channels do is they don't put themselves in front of their audience. They make content that they want to make, that they would want to look for, that they think that people would want to know versus what people actually want to know. Okay, and when they do that, they get no traction.
That sounds familiar.
Thumbs up.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
This happens a lot. This is very common, and this is why we're doing what we're doing.
Right. Okay, so if you're not growing, it's because you're not thinking like YouTube. You're thinking like you in your business. You're not thinking like YouTube is, okay? And so how can you think like YouTube, all right? How can you use your content or create content that thinks like YouTube? Well, I'm gonna pose some questions for you. You don't have to answer them here. These are questions that you can think about when you're thinking about building a YouTube channel. So if you've already made a channel, consider these things. Is your content engaging enough for people to watch it? By that, engagement does not start at the video, okay? Engagement starts from the topic that you create, and then after that, it starts at the thumbnail, okay? And then after that, it starts at then it goes to the title, and then if people are interested enough, then they click the video. So that's 4 steps before they ever get to your video, okay? And you have to make something that's engaging enough for that, okay? So does your thumbnail capture their attention? Does your topic capture their attention? Does your title go, oh, they should watch that? Does it do that? Because if it doesn't do that, then you're not thinking like YouTube. Okay, you're not thinking like them. They want people to watch the content, right? That's what they want. So they'd make more money. But if you're not doing that, then people aren't watching the content, which means they're not making money with you, which means you're not going to build an audience. Okay, the second thing, are you creating a good viewing experience for your audience? So when you're new, I can't express how important this is, okay? When you're new, making a video that's like an hour long is a really bad idea, okay? Because I do not have the attention span to watch an hour-long video unless it's something that I know I really want to know and it's from someone that I already trust. Otherwise, there's no way I'm watching that.
And an hour is bad. 15 minutes is also bad.
15 minutes is also bad. So if you're going to make a video, it should be, if you're new, it should be between the 3 to 5 minute range. No more than that, okay? No more. No more than 3 to 5 minutes, okay? Are you making content for yourself or for your viewers? So I touched on this a little bit before, all right? So a lot of the time when people make content on YouTube, they make content that they think that they want to make. So for instance, let's say a cooking channel wants to make, a bunch of dishes.
Grandma's recipe.
Right, grandma's recipe. Right, this is my grandma's peach cobbler.
Yeah.
Who's your grandmother? And like, why am I interested in your grandmother's peach cobbler? I don't even know who you are, right? So is that content that someone's looking for? Probably not. And so making that video is bound not to get much traction if you're a small channel, okay? And finally, what value are you delivering to your audience that makes them want to come back after watching that video, okay? So many people build channels or try to build channels not thinking about this. They don't know how to get people to come back after the first video, okay? So because they don't know how to do that, they don't grow. So you get a person who watches your video once, just once, or maybe they don't even watch the whole video because most people, YouTube, most people do not actually watch all of the video. So they'll watch like whatever the relevant part of the video is, and then they'll click off and go watch something else, whether it be on your channel or someone else's. Okay, so are you creating content that makes people want to come back even after they click off the video? So maybe they got the relevant information, okay? So they got the relevant information. Did they go, oh, you know what, I wonder about this, and then go to your channel, or did they leave your channel and go to someone else's channel and then never go back to your channel because you haven't given them a reason to come back? Okay, if that makes sense, give me a thumbs up. If it doesn't, give me a thumbs down. Okay, a lot of thumbs up. Okay, good. All right, so these are the things to consider when you're trying to think like YouTube. Okay, so how can you take this and implement it? What can you do today that would see growth? Okay, so there are a few points that I'd like to address. So the first one is, what type of content is your audience watching? So the way for you to go do that is look for people who are in a similar niche to yourself, okay? So if you're in the personal development niche, then you can look for people who are in the personal development area, space, on YouTube, and see what type of content people are watching on their channel. So you already have an idea. Okay, that's what they're doing. All right, they are making this type of video. Okay, how do I get up every morning with energy? Okay, great. Okay, and they have a video about that, and that video got 100,000 views. People watched it, obviously. So why did they watch it? And it wasn't just that they just made a video and people were like, yeah, this is great. No, there's more to it than that. Okay, So what type of content is your audience watching? The people that you're trying to reach, what are they watching? Okay. Who are the people in your space that make the type of content you want to make? All right. So this is a little different than the above. All right. Because maybe someone does exactly the same thing that you do or that you want to do. So let's, again, use the personal development niche as an example. All right. Let's say, I don't know, Tony Robbins. All right. And so you got Tony. Now, I use him as an example because most people know who he is. All right. And you look at Tony Robbins' YouTube channel, almost 1 million subscribers, and he makes content that people watch. All right. But why do they watch? Okay. And then there's other people in the space too. I'm just using him as an example for personal because it was in my mind. All right. So the next thing is, how does just pick one person, by the way, for the last thing. So how does their content differ from other people's content in your niche? All right. So you can do that by just looking at two different people in the space. So you can take like a medium-sized channel and a big channel and look at that, right? And see what kind of differences. And it only takes like maybe watching 1 or 2 of each of their videos to really get the differences. Like, oh, okay, in this video, they deliver content like this. And in this video, they deliver content like this. All right. And so you can kind of combine it together and put that towards your own thing. All right. The next thing you have to figure out, and this is more of like an introspection. All right. Why should people watch your content over theirs? What are they going to get from your content? What is it that they're going to get from you that they can't get from someone else? Maybe you have a cat that you absolutely love and that's in every one of your videos and this and other. Or maybe you have whatever, it doesn't matter.
Dry sense of humor, or you're very concise and you speak very factually.
Right. What are they getting from you that they're not getting from them? How can you differentiate yourself from the guys who are up there? Okay. And once you figure this out, this kind of opens a lot of doors for the type of content you can do. Okay. Another thing to figure out, I got 2 more. Just the second one. Okay. When do people watch the content? Okay. This is paramount. Okay. When? And that means what time of the day? All right. When does the people that you're looking to emulate, when do they upload videos? Because when they upload videos, you know when people are watching that content. Okay. They upload that video, it gets 10,000 views in the span of an hour. Guess what? You know when people are watching the video. You know what time. Okay. You know what time. And the last thing to consider, and this is just, again, more introspection, where's your audience located? Is it local? Is it national or international? Okay. And if it is international, you have to decide where, specifically international. But locally, where are they located? Okay, are they located in the state of Arizona? Are they located in, well, yeah. So, they're located in Arizona, they're located in New York. Where are they located? This plays very heavily into that. So these are the things you have to consider, all right, when you're going to YouTube. And if you take all of these things and you consider these are things that you can do right now. And if you figure these out and really understand why all of these things, then your channel can start growing. Okay, so these are things that you can do today. You don't have to wait 10 years to figure this out. You can do this now, all right? The last thing I wanna cover, I know I'm kind of running on time here, but the last thing I wanna cover is a couple of myths about YouTube, all right? And I'm not gonna go into all of them because there's a lot, but I'm gonna go into the more general ones. The first myth is that it takes a long time to build on YouTube. That's false. It does not actually take that long, okay? If you know what you're doing and you have like this little template that we've given you today, if you have this, you can grow on the platform very quickly, all right? Now, growth, depending on your niche, is going to be different. So don't think that, oh, well, I was expecting to get like 20,000 subscribers in this niche. That's not a good metric for growth because you don't know, right? You don't know how many people are, you're going to be able to get with that, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Yeah.
How we did it.
Well, I would like to finish these before.
Go ahead.
I have no problem answering that though. All right. So the second myth of YouTube is that YouTube favors big channels. Okay. That's a really big myth. All right. YouTube actually really loves the small channels because the small channels tend to build more of a tight-knit community. And that is something that YouTube really favors in its algorithm, people who have tight-knit communities. And then the more tight-knit that community is, the more that YouTube will go, okay, then we'll try to expand your community because you're bringing a lot of people back to the platform. They're getting notifications from your videos on their devices or whatever, and this and other. So that's another myth of YouTube. And the last one I will go over is that YouTube is a technical platform, okay? It's not. It's not a technical platform. There are strategies that you employ, yes, but it's more of a thought and planning-based platform. And if you understand that, then it becomes much easier to understand a platform because, you know, you're not spending all this time learning all this technical mumbo jumbo. I know the technical mumbo jumbo, but that doesn't mean that you have to learn it. You guys are business owners. You don't necessarily have the time to sit there and be like, okay, I'm going to sit and study these this analytics because I do that. Okay, it's like you don't have the time for that. You want to go do other stuff. You're like, okay, I want to make a video, and that's it. I'm done. All right. So there are a lot of channels on YouTube that never look at their analytics, but they grow because they make content that people want on the platform. Okay, so this is something that you have to keep in mind. So those are the myths of YouTube. And is there anything else you want to say before we open it up?
Yeah, a couple things. After all that technical stuff and the facts about how to grow on YouTube, I just want to say that connecting with people on YouTube is essential to standing out and also growing your audience. You have to be authentic. Social media is about, it's being social. And putting up a front in any social situation is always a bad idea. So I wanted to build a fan base because it would help my career. How could building a fan base help your business? Fans spend a lot of money. Fans are loyal, they're committed, and fans talk about who they like too. This is different than building just a customer base. Customers might come and go once in a while, but if you have fans who really love your message, the word is escaping me, but if they connect with your message and you as a person, then you're golden on social media. And this is why businesses go to social media. This is why they don't necessarily or strictly go to advertising. Social media is a different beast, and it's not for every business, but it also can be for every business. It depends on what you want. If you want to build a brand that people know and love, social media is where you should probably be.
And YouTube is a very powerful weapon for that. As business owners, you guys are not necessarily going to be looking to build audiences of 1 million, 2 million, or even 100,000. You're not necessarily looking to do that. What you're looking to do possibly is to use the platform to promote your business to a local audience or even with people within a certain region that you are targeting. And so that's why YouTube can be a really powerful thing for what you do in your brands. So when you're thinking about YouTube, don't necessarily think about it as a platform where
Always pitching.
you're always pitching your stuff, because that's not the case. You're not always pitching. Most of the time, the content that you're going to be creating is stuff that's meant to engage with people, okay? And the more engaged they are, the better. And so that's why YouTube is a little different than other platforms, because like, yeah, Instagram, people can engage with you through pictures and maybe some video and stuff like that. But on YouTube, they're engaging your personality. They're getting to know you and what you represent, your message throughout the entire process. And as long as you're consistent with that, you can grow an audience, and it doesn't take forever. It doesn't. So that's pretty much it.
That's a lot.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. That was fantastic. I love the word fans that Indi used. So you're really trying to gain fans versus subscribers or followers or customers.
Yeah.
Just for them to kind of watch the content and the value that they get out of it, that turns them into a fan. So I'm going to open up the floor to questions, and we'll go from there. Anyone? Mark, go ahead, and then Kathy.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, guys. This was a good reminder of the things that we covered earlier in the week in the audit.
Yeah.
So, I was like, okay, I remember that. I remember that. Thank you, guys, for the refresher and the information. So, a question that's come up for me as you've talked about this, I know it's not a technical platform, essentially. Question is, how much time? Because I know we talked about like how much time should I be investing on this on a weekly basis? How much time should I be investing in the analytics of things in terms of like analyzing? Because again, it's one thing, and I definitely was not looking at the strategies that you were talking about before, and thus I had 20 views, I had 5 views, I had 4 views on a video, right? So I appreciate all of that insight, and then it's a matter of how do you start to take a look at what analytics should you be looking at, and maybe how much time of your week should you be investigating that? Because that is important, because that's the feedback that you're getting.
Right.
So
absolutely.
How would you kind of decide? I know that that's a big question. At the same time, how would you kind of break that down maybe a little bit?
Well, I'll try to keep it simple. So for a person who's like a really small channel, I really wouldn't invest more than maybe a few hours a week. And you don't need to look at it every day. You can look at it like, I look at them every day because she releases content every day. Yep. But you don't really need to do that. Okay. Yep. So a really good indicator for you would be maybe like an hour, if that, to kind of just take down some notes. If you're looking to just like release, say, 3 pieces of content a week, that's a really good indicator right there. So you could say 3 pieces of content, one basically an hour looking at analytics, or less if you get really good at it. I think the more you do it, the better you get at understanding what you're looking at. And then I can look at stuff on her channel and do it within 10 minutes. Like, okay, I know exactly what needs to change. We change it and that's it. Okay. But if you're not to that point, it'd be like maybe an hour, but that's about it. So you wouldn't have to spend that much time, but you could at least see where your progress is. And analytics literally tell you everything you need to know about your channel. And so, but I also emphasize not like staring at the analytics too, because in a way that could create some level of analysis paralysis where you're just looking at it and you're just like, well, I see it, but I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with it, right? So I wouldn't recommend staring at it a lot. And if you're, and it's also, like I said, really just comes down to your content schedule, how often you upload. So if you upload, say, 6 times a week, then I would recommend looking at your analytics at least twice so that you can pivot, right? So I would say the number of times you should look should be equivalent to every 3 videos that you do. So that would be a good measuring to go by.
And you'll learn those, you'll pick it up over time. You can't expect to look at your analytics after the first 3 videos you make and know what you're looking at.
Right.
They will show you what's good and what's bad. You just have to give it time.
Yeah. So just as another rule of thumb, as far as your analytics, almost all of the data you're going to need, you're going to get within 24 hours. Okay. YouTube is not a slow platform. It's a fast platform. So they're going to put your video out there, and if it's good, then it can take off. If it's not, then you'll know, because the analytics are telling you, hey, no one saw this. Okay, no one was interested in that. It tells you.
Got it. And then just one other quick kind of build on. Thank you. That's helpful. And then, are there 2 or 3? Like I kind of. We tend to think in terms of 1, 2, 3, many. So if I'm there's so many analytics that are coming at you that you're going to look at inside of that. Are there 2 or 3 dials that you could take a look at?
When you're new,
the watch time, right?
It's watch time. That's the only one you need to be worried about.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, don't worry about any of the other analytics.
Okay.
Thank you. You can, and there's actually a lot of YouTube videos. Like you can go on YouTube and look at a lot of the tutorials and stuff. There's a lot of videos that will actually tell you like a million other things. They aren't relevant. The only relevant thing is the watch time. Yep. So, because that's all YouTube cares about. They only worry about your watch time. So, yeah, if you only get like say 20 views, but you have good watch time, that's much better than getting 200 views and no watch time. So, don't necessarily use views as a metric for whether or not you're doing well.
Awesome. Really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you. We skipped Silver Rose. She had a question in the box there.
Yeah, that was the specifics on. Okay, so what specifics are you looking for?
Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Well, like first of all, what does somebody search to find Indi's YouTube channel? I mean,
That's a good question, because you know, when you're doing YouTube, people aren't going to be searching your name because they don't know who you are, right? So what you do is, let's use personal development as an example.
I wanted to use Indi as an example.
Well, I'm using her. It correlates. There's a correlation between.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Okay. So when I say personal development, people don't necessarily look up personal development, right? Just like they don't necessarily look her up at her name. Okay.
They didn't.
They're right. They didn't look.
They do now.
They do now, but they didn't at the time, right?
Yeah.
So what they do is they look up things around what her name represents. So for instance, in her case, she's looking to entertain people. So she's doing content that entertains people, okay? Or that is educational, or that is, you know, connecting in some way. So that's the type of content that she makes. But like say in personal development, so in other words, what we just discussed with her is a problem that she solved. She solved someone's boredom, okay? Just an example, right? So in terms of personal development, let's say that someone has a hard time being motivated. So they could look up how to be motivated or how to be more motivated. And that's how they find you, okay?
Because you made a video, you made content about how to be motivated.
Right, on how to be motivated, or how you maintain motivation, or how this, that, and other, whatever, okay? So that's why I was saying it correlates between. So it's not that they're looking for her, they're looking for the message that she's trying to create, okay? Or that she's trying to get out there. And they are looking specifically for that. And you can find all that in the search bar, okay, as I mentioned earlier. And as, like I said, there's a little bit of stuff to that. We don't have time for me to go into all that. But yeah, they're finding the message that she represents. So if they're interested in, you know, how to cook whatever, they look that up. And if her name happens to come up with her cooking it, then they found something that she was trying to deliver as a message. Okay, I'm learning how to cook this. Come watch me do it.
My
Okay.
message specifically, to be clear here, because you should have just one message, is my channel is about India, learning the culture, the history, music, food, just something I had an interest in. So my message is about connecting the United States and India, breaking down stereotypes, and creating more of an understanding between both countries. So when people look up Indian history, or foreigner reaction to Indian history, or Indian temples, Indian food, my name comes up because I've covered all those topics.
Gotcha. See, that's what I was looking for, because I thought, you know, if I'm not going to search on actress, or I'm not going to search on audition.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense to me now. Thank you for clarifying that.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the question, Silver. Okay, so far visually, I'm keeping track. We have a lot of questions. I have Kathy next, then I have Patty, and then Annette. She has a couple of questions. So let's do them in that order.
Thank you. Actually, some of my questions were kind of answered, so I'm just going to throw it out there again and make sure I understand, maybe get a little bit more information. Is there a key thought on how many times you actually should put something up? Like you said, you post something every day. Is that what you really should do with your content? Or does
No.
it depend on your content?
It depends on your content. So she does that, but that doesn't mean you have to. YouTube likes some level of consistency. So whatever the consistency that you can create for your channel, your time, YouTube is okay with that. So YouTube will look at it and go, oh, they upload videos every Monday at 6 p.m. Okay, I got it. And then it'll be like, all right, we know to put this video out at Monday at 6 p.m. because this person always uploads content on Monday at 6 p.m. You can upload one piece of content a week. It doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter.
Just has to be on the same day and roughly the same time.
Yeah, roughly the same time. So I think the metric for that is usually within 30 minutes of the number time that you do it. So if you end up being a little late, then it's okay. So, but like a little 30 minutes before, anytime before is, you still want to keep a consistent time, because you also have to think about your audience. If your audience, the one you already have, is expecting your content to come out at 6 and you're releasing it at 7, they may be looking at someone else, right?
Right.
They may not necessarily be looking for you. So they don't know exactly when to find you. And that can be a little bit of an issue. So,
Okay. Yes.
yeah, but yeah, you don't have to do what she does. You can do there are people who make videos only once a week.
Once a month.
Once a month. Yeah, there are people who do that. And that works out for them too.
Okay.
Because they're making that type of content that we were talking about earlier.
And that's the other thing. Indy, I've watched a few of yours and you're great. I just love them. But you have different things all the time, like you said. But I noticed on a couple of them, you're actually watching a video and talking about it, you know, kind of thing, which is great. Do you find that the type of posting that you do, there's a bigger audience on some, like, I know that you were putting that, you were dressing, I don't remember what it's called and I apologize, but
Sorry.
that was quite cute because you were not quite figuring it out and then you're very authentic and having issues with it and you finally figured it out and it was great. Plus, you know, the ones that you watch, do you find that there's more interest when you're actually doing something like cooking or putting on an outfit versus having fun or critiquing or doing whatever with a video that you're watching together with your audience?
Yeah, it really depends. We've actually done our most viewed video on my channel is actually a reaction video to just a video that I watched, but I've done vlogs that have gotten 6-figure view numbers. People generally really like when I myself am doing things like trying Indian food, stuff like that, but it can vary. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a trending thing for me to even, I learned it from my kids. I guess there's a whole genre of reaction videos that kids
Yeah,
do.
there is.
Yeah.
There is quite a few of them, but the strategies don't really change between it. The type of content that you make, quite frankly, when it comes to YouTube, doesn't matter so much as long as you're following the rule. So it doesn't matter if I was to make a video on just walking down the street and I was just having a conversation, you know, with the camera holding a selfie stick. It wouldn't, as long as the topic I cover is something that people are interested in, that's all that matters.
Okay, Patty, you're next.
Thank you. My question got answered. I will add though that this brings back memories of Candid Camera.
Candid Camera. Oh my gosh, I love that show.
Yes.
Yeah, love it.
Okay, Annette. Did you wanna hold on? You gotta unmute yourself. Can you unmute yourself? Okay, there you go.
They changed this thing now, right? So now we got to do it to the youth, right?
Let's just change this every day.
Yeah. Okay. Good morning again. I'm Annette Yates, and I'm the owner of Satay Dance and Fitness. And I actually rent space for instructors, dance and fitness instructors, and anyone who needs to do workshops and similar things. I'll be honest with you, I only use YouTube for storage. You know, I never even thought about pushing this out because you have so many different mediums you can use and trying to stay up on top of Instagram, Facebook, and I use Instagram so I can just ping it to Facebook and to Twitter. I don't even have time to go to all of those, but I'm liking what I'm hearing, I'm seeing. But what really threw me is the fact that India actually talked about the country of India instead of herself. So when people go looking for India and they find you and you're a singer, so that's how everybody pushed it out after they saw you as a singer? I mean, as an actor, as an actress?
Not quite. I'm an actress. You can't find my stuff on YouTube yet because I don't actually have a lot going on yet. But they find, and yeah, acting is like not happening this year. But yeah, they found me originally because we started doing content that was already trending, and I would do a video reacting to it, and so they'd find the trending content, and I would show up right below it. And if they're a type of person who likes to watch reaction content, they click my video. And that's kind of how we got started with the big leagues, basically. But that also ties into doing content that people are already looking for.
Okay, all right, so I got that part. Now, okay, so I guess you're gonna get to your offer of what you're offering us as, I guess, as mentors or whatever, because I'm seriously, my whole mindset has changed because I wasn't even thinking about YouTube as one of my social media sites. I use it to actually send people to my videos, which I have a lot of them out there. My biggest thing is structure, how they're structured out there. Because I just put stuff out. I don't know where it goes. So I want to try to combine everything together. So I will be probably reaching out to you guys as a client or whatever, to just get that structure together so that people, when they do go to YouTube, they can find me easily. And then bottom line, like I say, I use it for my newsletter, I use it for my website, and I use it to send to people. I have it on the bottom of my salutation where people see my my videos and stuff like that. So that's what I use it for. But now it looks like to me, we can push it off to the next level now. And I do appreciate your time, and I appreciate your content and your knowledge. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Are there, hold on, what was it? Are there any basic rules for showing others film bits, like legalities and rights? Yes, there is. So whenever you're doing stuff like that on YouTube, you have to, there are certain rules you got to follow. The first rule is that it has to be transformative content. Transformative content means any type of content that you are providing active commentary to, okay? So in other words, let's say that you wanted to talk about a movie that just came out, all right? Let's say you wanted to talk about Infinity War for some reason. That didn't just come out, but you know what I mean. So you wanted to talk about Infinity War, okay? And after the movie comes out, you want to show some clips from it and this and other. You have to be providing active commentary that is you being louder than the initial content. So the initial content actually has to be quieter if you're going to be providing content or you're going to be providing commentary. The other thing is that it's usually best that you do not do the video as one singular block. So in other words, if you're going to be doing content of something that is like already on YouTube or whatever, it's best that you don't just run it all the way through and you're just quiet watching it. You have to break it up. Like that's actually what she does. We break up the content. So it's like there's a part of it she watches and then she stops it, gives commentary in the middle, and then like just her there with the content. And that's the other thing too, that she has to be giving more commentary than there is actual video footage. We actually end up cutting out a lot of the footage for that's of the video because most of her content is her commentary and her thoughts on what's going on. So those are the only real rules that you have to follow. If you're using copyrighted material, you have to follow the rule of no more than 10 seconds. And if you do use copyrighted material, you have to get permission. Like we send out a lot of things from asking companies if they're okay with it, and they come back, and most of them are okay with it as long as we tell them ahead of time. They don't just go, they don't just strike you or something like that. They're usually completely okay with it as long as you let them know.
There's a question about using a scheduler. YouTube has a built-in
scheduler. Yeah, you can do. That's actually a really good idea. So YouTube really likes when people schedule their content. That means that they know exactly when it's supposed to come up and et cetera, et cetera. So that kind of fits along the lines of being predictable. A good rule of thumb to follow is to schedule your video 24 hours before it's supposed to go out. That gives YouTube enough time to be like, all right, we know that you're putting this video out there, and they can fit it in the algorithm where it needs to be so that when you release the video, you have a higher chance of people seeing it.
Great, thanks.
Awesome. Any other questions? Did we miss anyone? Oh, Patty, go ahead.
I have a comment to make in relation to something that you just said. When I was getting my website set up, I had somebody in my industry who is fairly well known say, Patty, what are you doing? So I had been given some information to go onto YouTube, and there was a really cute video of this dog unraveling toilet paper. Okay, and I'm a pet sitter, so it all kind of made sense on my website, right? And I was asked, what are you doing? Do you know how much trouble you can get in because it's already copyrighted, and you're trying to come along and just, put this on your website? You can't do it. So that's a very good point, what you're saying about the copyrighted material, because it could have gotten me into some trouble.
Yeah, you definitely have to follow these guidelines. And YouTube is very strict about them, specifically YouTube. So you got to be careful about, I guess Google is very strict about it because Google owns YouTube, but they are very strict on copyright. So you have to follow pretty much everything to the letter. When it comes to that, there's very little room for deviation. And if for some reason, we haven't had this happen, but there have been people that this has happened to, where they make content that gets struck by the owner, even after permission was given. And that YouTube does not like that kind of stuff. So if you have valid proof that you got permission from them, their channels could actually be removed for creating false strikes. So YouTube does not play with that stuff, and they resolve it very quickly. So yeah, if you're not following the copyright guidelines, you could be in some big trouble. But as long as, again, your stuff very easily falls within fair use, which her content does, then you shouldn't have an issue.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, to your point, Annette, YouTube is actually, what I'm hearing is the second largest search platform.
It's the second largest search engine in the world.
So it's not just for, it's really used for people to research, find things out. I myself use it constantly for mostly educational and, learn the how-tos and what, rather than entertainment. I think it's for me, at least, it's more, I'm trying to learn something. That's why I go to it. So it's definitely a upcoming, not only upcoming, I think it's really the most bang for the buck. Correct me if I'm wrong, Andre, aren't ads, the paid ads also very economical versus other platforms? Don't you get a better ROI?
Yeah, on YouTube, your paid ads, this is a little bit more involved, but yeah, the paid ads that you do on YouTube is actually much lower than it would be, say, using Google AdSense, AdWords, or Facebook, or something like that. Like, it's much lower.
Yeah. Say no to Facebook. Anyways. Okay, anyone else? Any questions before we start the intros?
There's another question in chat from Ellie.
Oh, do you mean to find out if this content is copyrighted?
There's two questions from Ellie.
Okay.
It says,
I guess I wrote that wrong. I wrote the first, I don't know where the second one came from, but basically the first one is my question. Is there a basic way to find copyrights?
Okay, so basically if it was made by a company, it falls under copyright. That is the most basic way to go about it. If it's made by a company, it falls under copyright. If it's made by an individual creator, it doesn't necessarily fall under copyright. But YouTube has a rule that people can claim copyrights of their content if they can prove that it's their content. So basically, if it's a video on YouTube that someone else made, it falls under copyright. So for instance, if she took a video that was all for someone else's stuff and she made her own stuff, okay, like for instance, like what she does, she watches a video, and that video, she uses footage from someone else's video, that does not necessarily constitute their copyright unless, there's more than that doesn't fall under fair use. So she takes that video and say someone goes to her video and takes her video and uploads it, then it's her copyright because that's her content. They didn't do anything to transform the content whatsoever, and it didn't fall under fair use because they just took it and put it on their channel. So basically, if someone uploaded it, it falls under copyright. And if it's, as long as it's original content, it falls under the copyright, YouTube's idea of copyright.
What about music? Background music, or if you put music on your...
Yeah, music is actually much trickier than video. The reason for that is because a lot of companies, there's a database on YouTube that a lot of companies submit their music to, and anybody who uploads that music, it's subject to copyright. So what musical copyright means is a little different than video copyright. Music copyright doesn't necessarily get removed from YouTube, so it doesn't necessarily get pulled out of your video, but it means that the video that you're using that music in, the owner of the music can claim your video and they can make money off of your video. So the best way to go about that is just to use royalty-free music. That way you don't have to worry about that at all. And there's a lot of it. YouTube has a massive database of it.
But is there any kind of for lack of a better word, hacks or tricks around lowering the volume or? So
I experimented with that, and that used to work, but it doesn't work anymore. YouTube has gotten super good at detecting that because it's automatic. You'll know within the first couple of seconds if YouTube's like, hey, really can't be using that song, bro. YouTube will tell you. Yeah, right away. The moment you upload it, it'll be copyright claim, and you can't monetize the video. Now, maybe if you don't care about that, that's okay. Like if you're like, for instance, you're a business owner, it's fine that you probably won't matter so much because you're not looking to use AdSense. But music is actually YouTube's primary way of detecting copyright.
Yeah, that happens to my son all the time. He makes a lot of, he's got the music in the background and he plays it, and then within minutes it's I guess demonetized or
demonetized. They demonetize the content.
Right.
Well, it's okay. Maybe not demonetized. It's monetized for the creator of the music. It's not monetized for you. So it's demonetized for you.
Correct. All right. Anyone else? Questions? Annette? Oh, you're leaving?
I have music life. Am I safe to use it? Yeah, you're safe to use your own music or music at your studio. Absolutely. You're definitely safe to use that. And you would have to, I don't know this because I haven't worked with anyone who has their own music, but I know that YouTube has a library where you can actually put in for copyright. So you can just put it on there, and if someone tries to rip your music, you can claim that content. And so they would have to remove the music from their video. So yeah, that's something that you could do. So if you have your own stuff, yeah, for sure. You can submit it to there, or, as long as no one else can claim it, you're okay.
It's not my music. It's not my music per se. It's music that we use at the studio that we have license to use.
Oh, then you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Thank you.
No problem.
Have a good one, everybody. I'll be in touch. Thanks a lot. I gotta run. Thanks.
All right. Bye. Have a good one.